A decrease in COVID-19 cases in Crawford County brings optimism, but also caution.
Now is the time to be more vigilant than ever.
We'll tell you what county health officials are seeing and how scammers are using promises of a COVID-19 vaccine to target potential victims.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
Crawford County health officials are cautiously optimistic as COVID numbers begin trending downward. This is KOAM News at 6. Officials updated county commissioners at their meeting today. KOAM's Chris Warner has more.
Officials with the Crawford County Health Department provided an update to county commissioners during their Friday meeting, citing that COVID numbers are trending downward. Deputy Health Director Teddy Van Cam says they're still watching the number closely.
But we also saw a trend in less testing as well. So of course, with less testing, you're going to have less numbers. So that, could be part of it as well.
County Commissioner Jeremy Johnson says it's still important to be cautious.
Just because there is an end in sight, it doesn't mean that now is the time to let up our guard. Now is the time to be more vigilant than ever, that we wear masks, that we socially distance, that we continue to be cautious.
Van Cam says they're still monitoring the numbers following the New Year's holiday, and they're keeping an eye on students returning to class at Pitt State.
We are in direct communication with PSU daily, I would say. So we're aware of what is going on because, of course, a lot of the athletes have already come back to college. So, they're so good at making sure they get everyone tested.
Johnson says they'll continue to monitor the trends in the county.
If things do get worse, then my impression is that we would need to move into some of those more restrictive things, whether it's limiting the number of people that can be in a place at a given time, or even, more restrictive than that, like we had back early on.
In Crawford County, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
For all the latest COVID vaccine information and resources, go to our website, koamnewsnow.com/vaccine. Now, yesterday, the state of Missouri announced it was moving to the next step of its COVID-19 vaccine distribution plan. And today, Mercy Hospital announced they're ready for that next step. In fact, they got things going today. The hospital is starting to vaccinate non-patient facing healthcare workers, first responders, and emergency personnel. Now, how do they determine that the folks getting the vaccine fit into this next phase? Well, they're just trusting that folks won't try to jump the line.
The way the state is handling it is that we are relying upon the integrity of the individuals that are filling out the documents, and truly at the end of the day, the more people vaccinated, the better off we'll be.
Mercy has created an online application for vaccines. Cherokee County, Kansas Sheriff David Groves is warning people about scammers posing as health officials regarding COVID-19 vaccines. Sheriff Groves says the scammers will call or message you and ask if you're interested in getting the vaccine. From there, they'll try to get you to say yes or release personal information like your address or social security number. The sheriff says legitimate organizations distributing vaccines do not ask for personal information like that over the phone.
If someone does fall for it, they want to immediately contact law enforcement, but also contact their banks, their financial institutions, and closely monitor credit cards.
Checking in now with Doug Hattie for our first look at the weather. We saw a bit of snow today, Doug.
We did. We've had periods of snow showers throughout the day, but it's been cold. Most of us have been sitting into the 30s throughout the day, and we still have some light snow showers out there, especially on the Missouri side, still some across northeastern parts of Oklahoma, just some random flurries on the Kansas side. We didn't get much of accumulation. Earlier this morning, it was accumulating a little bit and then has pretty much melted, but this whole storm system is kind of wrapping up and heading away from us, even though we still are going to see some snow showers out there for the next few hours, and then all these will dissipate a little bit later on tonight. Here's 9 p.m. You can still see snow showers, mainly central Missouri, but most of us starting to dry out. We still have the clouds most of the night as we drop back into the mid to upper 20s. On the other side, it's been very windy. We've had winds gusting 35 to 40. It's still windy out there. We have these northwesterly winds at about 15 to 25. Will they calm down for the weekend? We'll take a look at the weekend here in just a bit.
All right, we'll catch you then. Thanks, Doug. The Coffeeville, Kansas Police Department has arrested a man in connection with a shooting investigation, and they're looking for another for questioning. Authorities arrested 28-year-old Zachary Poole on charges of second-degree attempted murder. Yesterday afternoon, police say they spotted a car speeding down Maple in Coffeeville. They chased the car, but the occupants got away. Police say they later learned the car had been stolen and that the people in the car, including Poole, were accused of shooting at someone. Authorities say they're looking for 20-year-old Benjamin Whitaker from Independence. They want to bring him in for questioning. Authorities say Whitaker was the target in a separate shooting last year that killed 19-year-old Kimberly Meeks. Jasper County authorities released new details about a murder investigation in Sarkoxy. Sheriff's deputies Wednesday night found 46-year-old Becky Sanders dead inside her Sarkoxy home. Authorities are searching for a man who they believe stole a car from Sanders. Sheriff's office now says that man may have been at the Come and Go on High Street in Sarkoxy on Wednesday afternoon. This is a photo of the missing car. It's a gray or silver 2015 Subaru Legacy. It has Missouri plates number VB1YOE. If you see this car, you should contact law enforcement immediately. Authorities are contacting residents in Sarkoxy right now to see if they have any information about this case, and we're going to have more for you tonight at 10. The Missouri Highway Patrol says a Joplin woman is dead after a crash near Carterville, Missouri. The patrol says Cindy Renfro was on 171 when she drove off the road and hit a rock embankment. Renfro died at the scene. State capitals across the country are increasing security following a warning from the FBI about potential armed protests on and around Inauguration Day. In Kansas, Governor Laura Kelly announced she's restricting access to the state capitol. Starting today through January 22nd, only those with business before the legislature or the governor's office are allowed in the Kansas State Capitol building. The governor's memo announced the security changes did not say what groups were planning protests or events. Oklahoma's governor says he's deploying the National Guard to the state capitol in Oklahoma City. Governor Stitt says he's activated 75 Guard members. They'll be active starting tomorrow through the 21st. The governor's office says there have been no specific threats in Oklahoma. The governors of Missouri, Kansas, and Oklahoma all say they're sending National Guard troops to D.C. to help provide security there for Inauguration Day. Still ahead, what's in a name change?
I think it's an exciting move for the ministry.
Why the Water Gardens thrift store in Joplin is now operating under a new moniker, and the surprising journey in Oklahoma of a horse named Marvin. The mission's the same, but the name has changed. The Water Gardens thrift store in Joplin is now called the Garden Exchange. The name was the result of some brainstorming by Water Garden staffers.
Yeah, I'm very excited about the new name change and excited to get some signs in here and no longer calling it just the thrift store, but we get a store name, and I think it's an exciting move for the ministry. The Garden Exchange accepts donations of things like hygiene kits, clothing, even bedding and board games. A horse rescued from Hurricane Katrina is now competing in the International Finals Rodeo in Guthrie, Oklahoma. His impressive journey is being called a miracle. Angelicia Bruton spoke to his owner about what it took to prepare for this competition.
A miracle. That's the simple way to explain one of the horse's journey in the International Finals Rodeo 51. Meet Derby.
He's been with me for a while now, and he's just been a champion ever since. He's been like he's a winner.
Rachel Bryan says her relationship with Derby has always been quite the adventure. They met when he was about a year old.
In 2005, there was a Hurricane Katrina, and after the hurricane, Mr. Marvin had called my dad and asked him if him and some buddies could come save some horses, that the water was rising, and Derby was one of the horses that we had saved. He does like the water now. He loves to play in the water.
Bryan says she grew up with Derby.
He is a little accident prone. Considering all what he's been through, he is a miracle, a walking miracle.
A couple of years ago, Bryan says Derby suffered an injury to one of his back hoofs.
He had gotten away from me, and a railroad spike got stuck in his foot and nicked his coffin bone. It was pretty slim for him to come back.
Bryant says she never lost hope. It took about a year for Derby to recover, then it was back to competing as normal.
He came back pretty good, and now he made me my first IFR finals. So we're a rookie here.
Bryant and Derby will be competing in the breakaway roping category.
It's super special to me. I knew that I could count on him no matter what. I rode with him all year this year. He's getting older, so I thought about keeping him home for a little while, but I couldn't get him off the trailer.
The competition kicks off tomorrow and it ends on Sunday.
Again, that was Angelisha Bruton reporting. Doug Heddy is up next with his complete forecast, and later the Kansas City Chiefs are set to return to action as they welcome in the Cleveland Browns for the playoffs. We're going to hear from the voice of the Chiefs in this week's Minute with Mitch.
Well, the on and off light snow showers throughout the daytime hours today, and also the wind, so the snow really just kind of blowing sideways. Temperatures has been mainly sitting low to mid 30s across the entire four-state area. We haven't really had much of any issues of the snow really accumulating. It accumulated a little bit this morning and then kind of melted. Some areas have very light accumulations, but mainly melting on impact. But you can see our temps mainly right around freezing, and that's where we're going to sit for the next few hours, and then we'll drop off later on tonight. But the winds have been super strong. Northwesterly winds at about 15 to 25, but we've been getting gusts at times upwards of 35, even 40 miles per hour. The winds are going to stay strong tonight. They will diminish a little bit at least, but still kind of up there. We'll mainly sit near freezing until midnight, and then once the clouds start to break up a little bit, then we'll get our temperatures dropping back into the mid-20s later on tonight. You can see the bands of light snow showers kind of tapering on the Kansas side. Most of them still in southwestern parts of Missouri. It's fairly light, but really 69 highway and east. Here's 49, Interstate 49, all the way down in northwestern Arkansas, and then kind of patchy once you get back in the northeastern parts of Oklahoma. This whole storm system spinning and getting ready to kick out of here. We're still going to have these snow showers around at least over the next couple hours, and then this whole storm system will rotate off toward the east. But you can see it's a big system covering a ton of real estate as it spins just south of Chicago, and on the back side you can see the very strong winds, and that's why it's been so windy for us today. Let's go through time. Here's 9 p.m. Random showers at this time, and then flurries. And then after midnight, mainly just cloudy skies. We'll get a few breaks in the clouds, and that will allow our temperatures to drop off a little bit later on tonight. Tomorrow looks pretty good. We're going to break out. We're going to see partly sunny skies. Temperatures at least a little bit better than what we did see today. We'll start at 25, 36 by noon, high temp of 41. Still kind of breezy, those northwesterly winds at about 10 to 15 as we work into the afternoon hours. Clouds will start to increase again for us tomorrow night. We're going to head into Sunday. There's a weak little wave that is going to rotate mainly across central Missouri. So we'll get some clouds. We'll be into the lower 30s or 40s, but we could get a random snow shower or a random shower late in the day. So if you are heading north, Kansas City, Chiefs versus the Browns, divisional playoff game. There could be a few random snow showers. I don't think it's enough to really affect the game, but you can see our temperatures hanging out right around 40 degrees as we work into the afternoon hours. Let's go into next week. We get a system in here late Monday into Tuesday. We warm up a bit Wednesday, a system Thursday and Friday, mainly rain over to a little bit of snow, but a better chance for winter weather or wintry weather the 26th, 27th, and 28th. So the last week of the month, we're going to be keeping our eyes on that. Random snow showers next couple hours, 41 tomorrow, 43 on Sunday. We do bounce into the 50s by Monday and then cooling back down just a bit by Tuesday.
I know, Doug, you and your son Christian, your wife, brother-in-law are going to that game.
Yeah.
You gave us the weather forecast for Arrowhead.
Yep.
At the end of this newscast, we're giving a score forecast for Arrowhead.
All right, I'm ready.
All right, I have mine. Jacob Leonard has his. We're going to give them all.
Sounds good.
Thanks. Hey, don't forget, you can be the first to know about the day's weather with the KOIM Skywatch weather app. Get severe weather updates sent straight to your phone, free of charge. Apple App Store, Google Play Store, the KOIM Skywatch weather app. Still ahead, those Kansas City Chiefs looking to make history again as they welcome in the Cleveland Browns. The voice of the Chiefs has more on what's at stake in this week's Minute with Mitch. It's finally playoff time for the Kansas City Chiefs. After a bye week to begin the postseason, Kansas City hits the field on Sunday against the Browns in the AFC divisional round. Like every Friday night, it's time to hear from the voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holtis, in this week's Minute with Mitch.
Last week on the Minute with Mitch, I mentioned how the Chiefs have made history, game after game, week after week. Well, the Chiefs are 4-1 in their last 5 playoff games. It took 55 years prior to that to win 2 postseason home games. This week, they're going to go for their 4th home postseason victory in 3 years. Overall, of the 28 players on the Chiefs team, only 1 has a losing playoff record. Defensive end Alex Okafor, who missed last year's Super Bowl run with an injury. After years of looking for any playoff wins from any Chief, now this current team carries winning confidence and experience into Sunday's divisional playoff game against the Browns. Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes and the rest have changed history as much as they've made history on this Minute with Mitch. The Minute with Mitch is brought to you by Como Jewelry. Every day's game day, Como Jewelry, Pittsburgh, Joplin.
Sunday's game is going to kick off at 2:05 p.m. right here on KOAM. Our score predictions and a final check on the weather up next. Take some time now to honor a local veteran, Petty Officer 3rd Class Keith Sherman. The Moline, Kansas native served in the U.S. Navy, and we are proud to salute Petty Officer 3rd Class Keith Sherman. He's tonight's 4-state hero. Hey, there's still some time to get your Mega Millions lottery ticket, but not a lot. The next drawing is tonight. Jackpot soared to $750 million after no one won on Tuesday. This is the 2nd largest Mega Millions jackpot in history. The largest, it was twice as big. It was $1.5 billion in 2018, but you know, what's a few $100 million between friends? Either way, it's a lot of money. Okay, while you're trying to figure out your winning lottery numbers, first of all, let's check in with Jordan Abbey for a look at what's coming up on our sister station, KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14.
Dow tonight at 9, security is being boosted up throughout the nation's capital ahead of next week's inauguration, and many National Guard members from Missouri, Kansas, and Oklahoma are heading out to D.C. Plus, how COVID-19 has affected the life expectancy, and we're going to look at if employers can require employees to get a COVID-19 vaccine. That and much more coming your way tonight at 9.
Jordan Abbey. All right, it's time for our Chiefs score predictions. First of all, I will tell you, obviously, Jacob Leonard and Doug and I are all picking the Chiefs to win. The question is by what margin? Doug, go first.
I do think they will win. I'll be very disappointed if they do not. I'm going to go 35-24 Chiefs, and I think it's going to be a wider margin, like 35 to 14, and then they start closing that gap late in the game.
The official point spread, I think, is about 10. You think that they're going to cover that?
Yep.
All right, I put together some very low-tech graphics. Jacob Leonard says 37-20. He's looking for a real blowout.
Okay.
I think it's going to be closer. 38-30 is what I'm calling for.
38-30.
Just because I think the Browns can score. They'll probably get a late garbage time touchdown.
Yeah.
They have their running game. But the Chiefs, they're going to win comfortably.
Yeah,
38-30.
I think they should, and hopefully they will. We know the weather's going to be okay for the game. Temperatures near 40 degrees. For us, 41 tomorrow, 43 on Sunday. Most of the weekend looks pretty good.
Thank you for joining us. We'll see you right back here for KOAM News at 10. In the meantime, let's take care of ourselves and each other.